So I want to turn this into stuff like this. And as you can see, we have an absolute ton of it, but there's kind of a problem. Bamboo is kind of round, obviously, and all these sorts of things use flat boards. So I spent the last few weeks trying to see how close a regular person could get to making factory-level bamboo boards for woodworking. Now, I could just accept the natural shape and work with it, but to be honest, I just don't like limitations. Like I said, I want to make flat furniture, coffee tables, bookcases, things like that. And I really don't want to be limited to only being able to make things that look how people expect things made of bamboo to look. Honestly, I'm not even saying that stuff isn't nice, it's just not really what I'm trying to do right now. So then, where exactly do we start? First thing, collecting the stuff and bringing it home. Simple. Luckily, the chainsaw we have is pretty overkill. For anyone who's wondering, it's a Stihl MS382. And we already have a bamboo splitter, so getting strips is pretty easy. You now have two main goals: cut out the curve and flatten the sides. Easier said than done. Honestly, this is the biggest challenge we have for the entire process. I'm missing like half of the tools that I actually really needed. If you're like me, you probably don't just have an unlimited budget laying around. If you do, then, well, good for you, I guess. I mean, I'd love to build just like my dream workshop with a nice wraparound workbench and just all the tools. Table saw, miter saw, track saw, planer, jointer, router, a million clamps all over the wall. What I do have is a table saw with no table to stand on, an angle grinder, a circular saw, and about 3 clamps. Technically 2.5. And the table saw, being the backbone of the whole operation, has to basically do the job of the miter saw that I don't have, which is fine, cross cuts are simple enough, but also the job of the planer or jointer, which, like, we're pushing our luck a little bit here. Somehow the solution to getting this result involved hot glue. You're just gonna have to trust the process on this one. Long story short, something like this needs to be stabilized when running it through the table saw to get a clean cut, so you have to make a custom jig. But then that brought me to my next problem. I didn't have any plyboard or particle board to make a sled or a jig, so then I kind of just used some old damaged IKEA furniture that I found around the house. I mean, it had a straight edge and it was mostly flat, so it was good enough for me. My first version of this was literally just hot gluing the bamboo directly to this board. Surprisingly strong, but please don't do this. But to be honest, the board that I found was still a good base for version 2. That mixed with some random offcuts of wood, and I just kind of cobbled together this. I mean, it works. The jig basically just has one job: hold the piece in place so you can cut things straight, because a piece like this has no flat edge. Also, cutting the curve out would basically be impossible otherwise, with no way to stabilize the piece. Now we actually had a solid platform with clamping pressure to hold things in place, which again gave us results like this. I basically learned all this just from watching YouTube videos of different people's ways of cutting thin strips out of wood. Look, it's not perfect, it's gone through a few redesigns, could probably use a few more, but for now it really does get the job done. Once I got things cut to size, I did actually laminate them into a block, but then I also forgot to hit record while doing that, so here's the final result. We'll talk more about that in a sec, but there's two important things we gotta discuss first. First one's real simple. Choosing the right pieces of bamboo to cut down actually makes your life 10 times easier. Straighter pieces obviously need less processing after they've already been cut down, and I also tend to try and go for bamboo that's got a thicker inner wall, if possible. I mean, you can use the bamboo that has a thinner wall, but for now, I'm kind of just going to go with what's easiest and just keep looking for the thicker pieces. It just makes it 10 times easier to get flat boards out of. That said, I did actually end up losing the piece that you just saw in the B-roll, because obviously I ended up screwing up the thing that I'm about to warn you about. I lost probably 50% of all the bamboo that I collected recently, and that's really just due to lack of proper drying and treatment, which at first was kind of intentional, and then it just kind of got out of hand. Obviously, if you don't dry and treat bamboo before you try and make something out of it, it's gonna rot. Or at least mostly. I'm kind of trying to experiment to find out where that line really is, so I kind of had to break a few rules to see where the limits are. Essentially, I've purposely not treated any of the bamboo that I've used recently. I've only just tried to make sure that I fully dry it. And to be honest, batch number 1 actually turned out really well. So far, up until now, no excess mold, no rot, no insect damage, but I feel like the fact that it went well was kind of the problem. Because to be honest, when I went to do batch 2, I got a little bit overconfident and I ended up just piling the stuff up somewhere, not giving it enough airflow, and then obviously mold. So I have kind of like a graveyard on the roof of just moldy pieces that I can't really use anymore. So yeah, I'm gonna be extra strict on the drying from now on. Probably gonna go ahead and just buy a moisture meter so I can be dead accurate and not have to worry about it anymore. And I think I'm just gonna go ahead and just start treating the bamboo now. I think I'm done with the experiments. So I'm probably gonna have to go ahead and get a hold of some borax and boric acid. Seems to basically be the gold standard for treating bamboo. Then obviously once it's treated, dried, and processed, get some kind of waterproof sealant. So with all that trial and error, where did that actually get us with the results? Would I call this a factory level finish? Probably not. But the thing is, it is pretty damn good regardless. Some people are going to say that this thing is tiny and you can't actually build anything out of it, but this was really just a test run. Obviously, leveling off these flat sides is going to be a bit difficult without a planer, but I feel like I could probably get it flat enough with just an angle grinder and the sander. The thing that I'm actually most impressed by with this is the fact that I actually got the individual boards straight enough to where there's not really any gaps in between each one. Yeah, I mean, this is genuinely solid. Like, I'm surprised that I didn't need to add any cross boards on the top and bottom to actually make it more rigid, but with wood glue alone, I actually got the fit-ups good enough to where trying to actually bend this in half and break it, I mean, you'd have to use a lot of force, basically. You'd probably have to have a clamp on each side and then just wrench it as hard as you could. So, was all of this worth the trouble in the end? Yeah, 1000%. I mean, think about it. Think of what's actually possible with a more refined setup. Because like right now, I've got good tools, but I'm still pretty limited. And then when it comes to other things like jigs and stuff, I'm building stuff out of scraps and still somehow getting somewhere. The thing is, it's not perfect, but right now it really doesn't have to be. At the end of the day, I keep seeing people off-grid making incredible stuff with the things that they've got around them. And you mean to tell me that I've got all of this, and the only thing that I've made out of it so far is some charcoal? I'm not stopping there. I can't just make one thing when I've got an entire field, multiple fields of bamboo just all around us. My stubbornness might actually be useful for once, so I'm gonna go ahead and keep experimenting, keep improving, and just kind of see where it goes from here. If anyone wants a deeper breakdown of any of the stuff that I've talked about in this video, then let me know in the comments. I had to condense a lot when making this video. I had way more footage recorded than I actually needed. Maybe I'll just do a whole vlog of the process that I've done so far. Also, quick update for anyone wondering where I've been lately. I've been distracted. Give me that. Let go. Distracted is definitely the word. Anyways, more on that in another video, but for now, I'll catch you guys in the next one.